Let's do it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Inspire Before We Expire show. I am your host, Terrell Sumter. Guys, I'm very grateful, thankful, and graceful to see another day that's never a promise. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you all to take some time and really just close your eyes. And I just want you to say thank you. Honestly, most of us wake up every day and not realizing, understanding that the power of thank you can take you many places. Just appreciating and showing gratitude to who he is above. Honestly, guys. And then I want you to really visualize, where do you see yourself in the next few months? It's crunch time. The new year is approaching, 2020. Yes, indeed, guys. And I want you to inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, wax on, wax off. Open your eyes and now know that tomorrow was never promised, but today we are present. That I know that during this time, there's a storm going on. And most of us been through a storm, and most of us know the feeling, but we can get through anything we go through, that we can grow through. So I need you all to really take some time, get your notepads and pens out, honestly, guys, because you're going to need it. I have a special treat for you today. And I just wanted to say happy Labor Day to all. Somebody asked me, oh, is Labor Day people off? Why are you still interviewing? And I'm like, man, listen, this is 24/7 nonstop. I got to keep it going. But, you know, I just wanted to really, really say, guys, thank you all for the support and thank you all for really riding with us, on this journey. So, guys, I have a special treat for you today coming out of Indiana, or out of Nashville, Tennessee. Sorry about that. This gentleman here, man, is an NFL athlete who mostly recently played with the Washington Redskins. He attended Vanderbilt University. It's a great university where he received his bachelor's in civil engineering as well as his master's in business while being a two-time captain for the football team. He has gained visibility through the YouTube channel. He and his wife, Sean Johnson, started together, which now has over 100 million views. His top 90 podcast titled Redirected focuses on those who, like him, have interested career pivots. The experience he has gained through his time in the digital space has led to coaching and consulting on behalf of Google for Fortune 500 companies for how to create engaging content. Giving back has always been a focus for this gentleman. As a result, he has won awards such as the SEC Community Service Player of the Week and the All-State Good Works Award. Him and his wife, Sean, are expecting their first child in October. Wow, that's beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome my good friend, first time on the show, Mr. Andrew East. Andrew, how you doing today, man?
I'm great, T. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today, man. I know it's the first time for you. Let's get right to it, man. Drew, when did the journey first begin for you, man?
So I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm the middle of five kids. I got three brothers and a younger sister. And my parents were high school sweethearts. So my dad is the one that got me into football. He started playing in high school. Then he ultimately played at Purdue University. He was a long snapper there. So for those of you who don't know what a long snapper is, on punts and field goals, I'm the guy that throws the ball between my legs to get the ball to the punter or the holder. So he got me and my brothers into that, married my mom, and we got a bunch of rascal siblings running around the house. But I started playing football because my older brother played, and obviously my dad had a deep history with it. And so I loved it, man. In high school, we had a garbage team, like really bad high school team. We never had a winning season,
Right.
But I was fortunate enough to end up at Vanderbilt, which is a crazy story in and of itself. So I was not highly recruited. Again, my team was bad, so it made it harder to get visibility in the football coach with the football coaches. And so I was doing everything I could because this is my dream to play college football. That's like what I wanted to do. My dad did it, and I thought that was just the coolest thing. So I wanted to do it too. So I would sit down and I would write emails to every college coach that I could find. And so what I would do, I would look at the secretary's email address, which you could usually find online. And then I would figure out that, oh, it's the first letter of the first name and then their full last name. So that must be, if this is a coach's name, this is his email address. And I was kind of like, you know, uh, shimmy it like that. So I had an offer to like a D3 school, but they don't give scholarships. I could have gone to Princeton, but I wanted to play D1 football. And so signing day came and went, and I didn't have any offers from a Division I school, but I kept going to camps. I kept sending emails, kept reaching out to coaches. And in April of my senior year, so this is way later than most people commit to to playing college football, I get a call from the Vanderbilt head coach, and I had a really strong relationship with them. I went to the camp and just like meshed with the coaches, and he says, "Hey, we have a scholarship offer for you opened up," and I was just like floored because I didn't know how that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Well, didn't you guys give away all our scholarships?" He said, "Well, unfortunately, there was a guy by the name of Rajon Bennett who was like the highest rated recruit Vanderbilt had ever had, running back out of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And he had tragically died saving his handicapped little brother from an intruder who came in and was just shooting around with a gun. And so he jumped in front of him, took a bullet, and the coach said, 'Hey, we want you to take his spot. We think you'd be a good character fill-in.' And so, here I am torn because it's my dream come true on the one hand, uh, but under such tragic circumstances. And so, in my time at Vandy, I tried to honor Ray John. He was just like this unbelievable guy, just left a difference wherever he was. And so, enjoyed my time there, had some good success, and ultimately went into the NFL, which is a whole
Mm,
different story.
absolutely. So you see how you just kept trying and being persistent. Like I just want the audience to really listen to you because it's already starting on fire. Like you say you wasn't recruited, but you say you was emailing people. And to an unfortunate situation, my condolences out to Ray John, that a teammate of yours, um, he had to focus on family because he had a loss. And that's when you was able to really show your talent. And how did you feel at that moment, Drew? If you can really, really share with the people, like once you got that call and once you was really able to really play for this big university.
Yeah, gosh. Well, I mean, this is kind of my whole story is I'm not a guy of extreme talent. I'm I'm a pretty good football player, gets me in the door, but I'm not the superstar. So my whole MO is if you have a dream, like you got to show up every day, do whatever you can to make that dream work. Cause like for me, I'm not a guy that it would just like have like all the doors would open for me. But when I got that scholarship offer, it was like this moment of almost like relief, like, oh gosh, okay, whew, like I
Right.
did it. I achieved my dream. There's so much excitement. But then it was like, okay, but now I have to show up and play college football. So what does that mean? And so then, I showed up and I didn't know my teammates very well, and everybody was stronger and faster than me. And so I became the guy that in the weight room and in the practices and in training, I literally made my reputation in being the crazy dude in the weight room by just like screaming, yelling, throwing around the weights. I'd be the hype man out of practice
Right.
because that was the only thing I could do. Like I wasn't going to be the dude scoring touchdowns all the time, so I had to be the hype dude. So you gotta get in where you fit in sometimes.
Absolutely. And then most people don't know that long snapper is not easy position, man. That's it's similar to like you know how the punter and kicker got that they're the go-to people, when it's crunch time. And you got to make sure that the people don't you don't get a fumble, you don't accidentally throw the ball any other type of way, So
Yeah.
so being at the University of Vanderbilt, what was like who was like somebody that really, really like inspired you while in that during that college journey or so?
Yeah, man, it's so cool as I look back on it. I was so fortunate to have a mentor by the name of John Stokes. So I came in as like this again, nobody knew who I was. I wasn't a highly recruited guy. I was later than everybody else. So all the other classmates of mine coming in had built relationships. And so I felt like the odd man out. But this guy, John Stokes, who was a senior at the time, and I really meshed. And he was a captain of the team,
Mm,
like this stud player. And so I kind of like just learned. I would literally like, if John Stokes does this, I'm gonna do that.
right.
Showing up an hour early, I'm gonna show up an hour early.
Hmm.
Staying an hour late, I'm gonna stay up an hour late. And so we would hang out together on the weekends. We would obviously spend a lot of time together on the football field. And he like changed my whole course of, you come in sometimes as a new guy in any situation. You
Right.
don't have a lot of confidence. You don't know the environment of how things work. But I would encourage anybody to just find someone who's been there, like older, a mentor, and
Yes.
they can show you the ropes. Because that, I mean, that's, none of us at the end of the day, we're all gonna be walking into new situations pretty frequently. I would say we do that a lot in life, and
Mm,
you could find someone who can help you through that and give you a head start on, hey, this is what's going to lead to success, and that can make a world of difference. But while I was there, I had 4 head coaches in
mm,
5 years, and so that was nuts. Just because like every head coach has a different style. So again, how do you succeed in these different regimes? But there's one coach that I'm very grateful for, James Franklin, who's at Penn State now, and his thing was this. He was like, hey, if you work hard, you will succeed here. You might not
mm.
be the most talented player. You might not even start, but if you work hard, like you will get rewarded. And so it was under him that I really kind of found um, my space and was able to thrive.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. I love that. Thank you for sharing that as well. So how did you overcome that, like you say, you got to be confident when in these spaces? Like, how did you overcome that feeling of just like, I'm not sure, I'm not able to, so you can really share with those who feel stuck at that moment, whether athlete or anything
Yeah,
else.
man. So you listen to this podcast, and I don't know if I come off super confident or what, but I feel like I'm not a super confident guy inherently. I feel like the first step to building confidence, at least through my experience, is humbling yourself. So like, what does that mean? Well, if you come in and you're like, oh, I got it all figured out, I'm the hot shot, then
Right.
you're not gonna be able to mesh with that mentor, right? Because you're gonna turn them away. Because a if you act like you have it all together and you don't need help, then nobody will give you help. If you humble yourself and you say, hey, I don't know what's going on, you're just going to naturally attract more people who are going to be able to help you through that situation, probably opening the door to a mentor. So I feel like the first step to confidence is humbling yourself. And so I feel like it's kind of almost like an inherent advantage that I have, that I don't have a lot of confidence in my situation a lot of time. Like fortunately, I'm consistently in situations where I'm uncomfortable and I don't really know what's going on. So I am forced to be like, okay, who can I turn to and ask for help? And I feel like that's one thing that as I've grown older, I've seen a lot of people struggle with, is like asking for help. I have a friend who has a dream job, um, but really just needs to ask like 2 or 3 people to like get there, and they're scared to do it. They don't know how to do it. They don't think that they'll get the answer they want. I feel like just asking and humbling yourself can make a world of difference.
I love that. Why do you feel like, man, men nowadays feel like it's a weak emotion to really show vulnerability? And what's the advice you would give to those, who really need that at the moment?
Oh man, I hope that's changing. Geez, yeah. Why do I feel like? I mean, there's like a lot of pressure, right? Like there's like, you go on social media and there's a lot of people doing a lot of successful things. So like if I'm not doing that successful thing that person's doing, maybe
Right.
I'm not successful. So like it's just easier to not be vulnerable. But my wife and I have had the uh, unique experience to share some very vulnerable things online. And I feel like when you are vulnerable, it unlocks this community of support of people who are also going through whatever difficult thing you're going through. And so we have learned that like being vulnerable only leads to good things. As hard as it is to take
Yes.
that leap and to be courageous and be like, hey, uh, I'm really struggling. Like, hey, I don't have any money, or hey, I don't I don't feel like I'm I don't feel like I belong in this job, or whatever it is, like to be courageous and be vulnerable, that opens you up to that community, and that's invaluable.
I love that, man. Thank you. Thank you. All right, man. So the University of Vanderbilt, what was the next step for you after that, man?
So I went to business school. I did a 3-2 program at Vandy. So I went right into business school and got my master's in business. My intent coming out of college, and this is why I studied civil engineering, was I wanted to be a missionary in a third world country, build wells and give people water who didn't have access to it. And so, but then and that's why I went to business school too, so that I could learn the structure of how to, do nonprofit work, or whether maybe it was even for profit. How do you structure that, and what's the best way to navigate that? But when I graduated, I had the opportunity to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs, and so I I decided to do it because I said my goal was to play college football, and so to play pros was like this crazy. It wasn't even a dream of mine. It was like, wow, okay, like yeah, I'll do it. Like this is once in a lifetime. So I was just all in on the Chiefs, and I signed like this 3-year deal, more money than I could ever dream of. I ended up getting cut after 3 months, and was just heartbroken. I literally like stayed at home, locked myself in my house for 3 months, and like didn't know. I had zero confidence in what to do next. Like even though I had these 2 degrees from a pretty good university, I had no confidence. I signed up to be an Uber driver. I was like this sad dude on the couch watching a lot of TV and getting fat. And so it took me about 4 months to get out of that phase. And so it began this 5-year process of signing with the team, getting cut from a team, moving to a different city, signing with the team, getting cut from a team. I've now signed 9 different contracts with 7 different professional teams, lived all over the place. It's been like this crazy journey. My wife, fortunately, has been just a saint through it all, but it's been a wild journey in the NFL.
Right, right. As you said, the first team you came across was the Kansas City Chiefs as far as signing, correct?
Yeah.
Um, so like when you got that call and then knowing that, you ready, but then you say 3 months later they let you go, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, um, as you can look back, right? And you knew that maybe some years ago, this was something you wanted to do. You wanted to go to the league, you know. So it's like, um, how did you like not only feel, but how did you deal with that? Like, how did you deal with the pressure while going through that phase of just knowing that, man, now I'm let go. What should I do now? Like, if that sounds about right to you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I like look back on the whole thing, and I'm so thankful. Even though it was like the hardest year and a half of my life, my wife and I were planning our wedding, and here we're sending out invitations, and all my friends and family are like, "Hey, so you got like how's football?" And I'm like, "I got cut. I freaking don't have a job." But this is, I my goal was only to play college football. And this is a valuable lesson I learned. Like a lot of times we get stuck in this, like I call it the treadmill of goals, right? And like it's really good to continue to raise the bar for yourself. So I achieved my dream of getting a D1 scholarship, and then I set a new goal above that of like, okay, now I want to start in a game, and then another goal of I want to be a captain, and then like I want to play in the pros, and then I want to be a Hall of Famer and whatever. And so I feel like I kind of got caught up in that and I didn't take a step back and just be thankful, just like you said in the opening sequence there. Like you sometimes like it's great to just be thankful. Not that we can't have ambitions, but like, dude, appreciate where you're at. And I'm all about celebrating the small wins. So it felt really bad. Unfortunately, I had Sean, my wife, who was just like this um, amazing support, and I had this community that I had built over the years that was like really helping me through it. But I got through it. I got over that little time of like just depression by at some point I decided, hey, I gotta do something or else I'm just gonna like sit and wallow in my own pity here, and nobody wants that. Like you did not want to be around me after I got cut from the Chiefs. It was like I was not a smiley dude, wasn't a happy dude, wasn't gonna. I was almost like only consumed by myself, which I feel like is just poison.
Mhm.
Um, so I got over that. I was like, I gotta do something, and so we started a YouTube channel. I bought a camera, and I was like, I can. I'm gonna document uh, this how I feel, this part of life. I'm gonna document, us planning a wedding while I don't have a job. I'm gonna document me doing tryouts with different teams, even though I'm not gonna sign. I was like, okay, this is at least gonna give me one step in the right direction to building confidence in some other area of my life. And so that was huge.
It was, because it's like you didn't give up on yourself. Like most people, like you say, you sat in a room for a certain period of time, but you didn't give up on yourself. And as you mentioned a few times, and I love that you keep, referencing your wife too as well. Shout out to her, because
Yeah.
I could see that she's been with you through this time and period of your life, through the trials and tribulations. And I think that's big because most of us, we can't do it alone, right? We need that one person to be biased to help us continue to keep
Yeah.
going, because it's so many times that we can fall that somebody else gonna pick us up until we got to lift ourselves back up. So I just wanted to really get into it as well, man. Get back to it because I just think people need to hear this about being rejected and over and over and over again. So it's like through those times and period of going through those teams and visiting those teams and stuff like that, what was something that finally came to you that say, man, I'm just gonna like focus on this certain thing now at the moment? Like what was that certain time where you felt like that? Like you say, man, I'm just gonna focus on my YouTube channel and building a family versus just football.
Yeah. Well, in every rejection, I feel like we get feedback on, hey, why did I get rejected, and what can I do to decrease my chances of getting rejected next time. And so, all these coaches are like, hey, you didn't, we're not going to sign you because X, Y, and Z. And so it's really good to have that feedback. Um, I feel like also, and I heard one of my friends say this really well, like it's great to have inspiration, but you also have to have the foundation. So like the big dream is like super important. That's kind of like the juice that gets you going. But those 5 years of getting cut and not making it, that was building the foundation to help me ultimately, build the career on YouTube and ultimately actually make my dream of the NFL happen. And so I've never, and I don't know if I would recommend this. I feel like this is not in line with a lot of what I hear motivational guys and successful business people online say. I've never been a all or nothing kind of dude. Like I've always kind of been working on a plan B, right? So like in college, I had my civil engineering degree that like, help. I feel like they kind of mutually complemented each other. And then I got my business degree. And then, in the NFL, like I went through that 3 month period when I was with the Chiefs. I was like all in on football. I was like, this is it. And it didn't pay off. And then, I get cut and I had nothing else to do. And so I learned then that like, you gotta be, even if it's just like you working on a hobby to, like have maybe I feel like a lot of people overthink things. That's what I did with football. I was like all in my head and it ultimately detracted from my confidence. But me
Mm-hmm.
having the YouTube channel and me building that hobby of like videography, video editing, learning in the online space helped me succeed in football because it gave me the financial freedom to do so, right? Like I would not have had a 5 year runway in the NFL if I needed to get another job, but I made YouTube work because I was now documenting my NFL career of how I wasn't making it, which
Mm-hmm.
ultimately extended the runway to allow me to make it, if that makes sense. But it also pulled me outside of my own head and like athletes do this a lot. Like, oh, like you just got to force it to happen. You just got to make it happen. And like, just think, like, I got to change this angle of my leg, or I got to change, work on this flexibility. And like, sometimes like you just got to this is what one of my friends says, don't take the athlete out of it. Like we've each been given unique talents, unique gifts. Like don't try to overshadow those with your own mental processes that sometimes handicap you. So it ended up working out really well. It's been a blast. Yeah.
I love that, man. That's awesome. Before we get into the YouTube channel, what's some, what is some advice you would give to some young athletes right now? Like just something that's on your mind at the moment.
Dude, I was I grew up in Indianapolis, and they just built this huge, like, multi-hundred acre youth sports facility called Grand
Mhm.
Park, kind of right where I am. And there's like this whole trend now of, hey, if you want to be a professional baseball player, you're going to only play baseball from the year, from when you're 6 years old or whatever. And
Mhm.
Sean, my wife, doing gymnastics, it's like there's a lot of pressure on these young kids to be Olympic gymnasts, and families are moving across the country to be with this one coach. And
Mhm.
again, like that's a lot of pressure for a little kid. I'm all about, just like me not being all in on one thing. Like I played multiple sports in all through high school. Uh, I had a lot of different things I was interested in college, and like I think there's some pressure to, hey, if you want to be successful like in baseball, you have to only focus on baseball, and that's just going to cripple you in the long run. So have fun. If you're an athlete, do different things with your athletic abilities, whether that's playing different sports or playing pickup with your friends. Like, I'm all about that. So yeah.
I love that. I wanted to just point out to something real fast because I thought everything you just went over just really stood out to me and can relate to me because I was a young athlete at one point in time too as well. And I just think that most of us really just got to continue to give it a shot. And if it's not that, it's something else. Like you say, we have this gift and we have to utilize it. It's sometimes that it doesn't come overnight. It comes with time. And it's also about surrounding yourself around the right people because they can help you also push closer to that calling and purpose in life. So, Drew, I thank you for really going through that, man. And every rejection is a redirection, honestly. Let's get into it, man. The YouTube channel. When did it first start, man? And I see that, man, you and your wife has built something big, and a lot of people across the world is going crazy for this content every day. So, tell us a little.
Crazy.
Tell us a little.
What are you laughing at, T?
Tell us a little bit more about this, man, because I just think it's
Uh,
amazing what you guys are building, man. I never really seen too much like this before. It's unique too.
yeah, no, I appreciate that, and we have no idea what we're doing, but we're doing it, and I think it's fun. But again, it was the first thing that I did to get myself out of that rut after I got cut from the Chiefs. I was like, hey, you know, I'm a quote unquote NFL player. I'm trying to make the NFL. I'm doing these tryouts with different teams a couple times a year. Sean, obviously, she has this fantastic fan base. I was like, let's start making videos. And so we did. They were awful, dude. They were so bad. But one thing that I am so thankful that my dad taught me is, like, I'm not a perfectionist. Sean is. I feel like a lot of people get intimidated to start something new that even maybe they really want to do because they don't feel like they can execute it with the perfection that they feel like is necessary. But I don't have that. So I'm like, hey, I want to make a YouTube video. I start a channel. I record my first video. It's up in 3 hours, like within 3 hours. And again, it was garbage, but it took us to that. It like crossed that starting line, which is huge. A lot of people don't get across that starting line. And then we started making, one video a month, and then it was one video a week, and now we're doing like 4 videos a week. It's been crazy. We built this awesome audience, and our whole content is about being vulnerable. So, we have documented some really, really vulnerable things, from me getting cut from NFL teams and I'm sitting there bawling in tears because it freaking sucks, to some more personal things, like my wife and I experienced a miscarriage. Now we're kind of going through like the whole pregnancy thing, expecting our first child. And so, you were talking about vulnerability, and that's, I feel like, why people have been attracted to it, and we've built what we have, whatever it is because there's a lot of people putting out some vulnerable things, but like, we're trying to do it with the intent of like encouraging people that, hey, if you're going through a loss of a job, like, there's probably something else, probably something better on the other side. And hey, if you're going through a miscarriage, like, it's okay. You're still loved. It's not your fault. Like, there's no shame in that. Like, you have nothing wrong with you. That happens in one in every three. And so, like, we just try to be really vulnerable and really encouraging through that. And then we've built this amazing community that I couldn't be more thankful for.
Absolutely. My condolences as well to the little one, man.
Yeah,
But you see that you guys are expecting one in October, so
crazy, bro.
that's big. So what allowed you to keep, and what allowed you to continue to keep being consistent in this YouTube space?
I don't think anything allowed that consistency. I think it was like, dude, you gotta be consistent. Like you just have to. Like that's it. Like again, my story is not that I'm not a Casey Neistat where I make super dope videos. I'm not a Brad Pitt where I'm like this great actor, great camera personality. All I do is I keep showing up. And that's been the case in football. That's been the case in YouTube. You know, this is now, we're coming up on our 4th year on YouTube. We're like 3.5 years in. We didn't
Congratulations.
have, yeah, we didn't have success right out of the gate. Like you're not making money, your first 2 years. So it's been like, you just got to be consistent. Like, hey, if this is where you want to be, you have to realize that you have to be here, 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 and here before you get to that point. So nothing allowed. You just got to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. And you guys have built over, have reached over, man, 100 million views. That's big. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, it's
Tell
fun.
us about that process, man. As many people want to get to that first mil, but you guys have did 100 million views. So that's reaching out so many people. And like you mentioned before in the beginning, engaging. So just tell us about that process and really reaching those people. And
Yeah, yeah. I mentioned it with my time at Vandy and the football locker room, like finding a mentor. What we did about 2 months into making our YouTube video, we realized we were like, hey, we don't know anything about how to make videos or how to be successful on YouTube, and we don't currently know anybody that knows how to be successful on YouTube and make sweet videos. So we literally, I still have the spreadsheet. We went through different YouTube channels, and you could find in the about section email inquiries, right? And a lot of people have it listed. So I made this whole spreadsheet, had like a couple hundred people, just like I did with the football coaches. And I emailed every single one. Hey, do you want to do a collab? Hey, can I pick your brain about making videos? Hey, how do you do that? Like, I love, you just got to reach out and ask the question, humble yourself. It's like, hey, we have no idea what we're doing, but we want to learn. We're eager. And then also, along with having to ask, I feel like it's important to be able to ask strategically. And I feel like that kind of comes out of a respect for like, hey, if I'm reaching out to you, Terrell, like to learn about how to do podcasting or to potentially request to be on your show, I'm gonna, like, out of respect to you, research your content, learn what you're about, what your upbringing is, try to find like a something we share and can have in common. And then you write that in an email. Hey, Terrell, I see you're from Florida. I spent some time in Jacksonville. Really loved it down there. You got a surf thing in the background there. I love the surf too. Like whatever it is that you can find to start building that relationship, not to manipulate, but to realize like, hey, this person might get 100 emails a day, but I want to show them that I'm different. You start the conversation that way, and then I see that you make content, inspirational content. I have been cut by 7 different NFL teams, ultimately achieved my dream 5 years. Like, how can I make it easy for you to say yes? You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm,
a lot of people just say, Terrell, let me be on your podcast.
mm.
You're sitting there like, why? Like, who are you? And why do you fit in my content series? Like, you got to be strategic. And so that's what we did with YouTube is we reached out to, what I did was look for anybody that was doing gymnastics content because my wife was a gymnast. I looked for anybody that was like into football, sent them an email, said, hey, I've been playing on this like, and so we did a lot of collaborations, and it helped us grow. It helped us learn to create better content, and it's helped us get to where we are today.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So what are 5 key tips that you would give to those YouTubers out there right now to building a successful, unique, authentic YouTube channel, YouTube platform?
5 tips. Okay. One, just do it. Like, again, a lot of people have maybe they've created a YouTube channel, maybe they have the concept, but they haven't actually started creating videos because they're too nervous. Just do
Mm,
it. You gotta start the race. 2, be consistent, right? Like, if you say to your audience, you're going to put out one video a week, put out one video a week. That's what I do with my podcast now, which is all about, people who have interesting career pivots. Like, dude, freaking, I don't want to put out an episode every week. That's a lot of work. But I told my audience that I'm going to, and I realized that if I want to have a super successful podcast, I have to make podcasts. So we did that. Now we're on our 52nd episode, and like we're starting to have a lot of success. I'm really excited about it. But like you gotta be consistent. 3 is collaborate. So like find someone, maybe you have someone in your city that's a YouTuber, or maybe you need to drive 4 hours to meet up with a YouTuber, but like find people that are doing what you want to do and ask them to learn. Like, hey, I'll be your intern. I'll do it for free for 3 months or whatever it is. Like just try to learn as much as you can, and don't be afraid to ask. 4, gosh, be an eager student. I feel like so I'm always reading news on, hey, YouTube changed this in the algorithm, or like this person's having a lot of success. Like how can I learn as much as possible so that I can apply whatever that knowledge is and help us build success on our channel. And then I feel like 5 for us, this has been huge for Sean and I, is like realize that like being community centered and like focusing on our fans, being really grateful to them, and realizing that like, hey, we have 900,000 subscribers now, 100 million views. Each one of those is a person that has spent time to watch your video. And so we were responding to every single comment. YouTube took away our comments now, but we were literally responding to every single comment for like the first 2 years. Like so much time doing that. A lot of people are like, oh, I want 100 million views. And then they just expect like those views to happen, but they don't realize that every view is like a person who's now, you're expecting them to be invested in your stuff and you're not invested in them. So like realize that, you're building a community, and you like, the fans don't owe you, you owe the fans.
Yeah. How do you attract so many listeners, man, and subscribers?
Yeah, I think collaboration, and then just like I said, being community oriented. Like, you doing this podcast, I'm probably going to share it on my Instagram. Not everybody's going to be interested in your show after this, but some people will, and you'll grow your audience, and then you keep doing that. And 5 years later, you'll have something successful. But, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that, man. And I just wanted to also just congratulate you and Sean again for building so much of a successful platform. As you say, the first 2 years of it, you guys was responding to every comment, because I think that's important too. So many people look at it as having followers or subscribers, but the people are what keep us going. Honestly, they keep us relevant. It's not about an image, but it's about building something and leaving something behind, much more than, what is current. So I think that many people need to, really, really reach out to people. They need to ask for help. Everybody don't know it all. And I mentioned this in my last interview. We don't know it all. We don't have it all. Something somebody might have, you might not have, and that's okay. We still human at the end of the day. And that's why I love what Drew breaking it down so much, plain and unique for you guys to really understand, and not towards you're being like, oh man, like that big word I understand, but bring it to where you can understand it and implement it into your life. So that's awesome, man. So where can they follow you, man, on YouTube, and follow, the journey on YouTube or whatever?
Yeah, so my wife's the big deal. So you can find her at Sean Johnson. She's a beast. She's hilarious. I love her. We have our YouTube channel called The East Family.
Okay.
East, like the direction. I have my own podcast called Redirected. It's wherever you find your podcast. And then you can find me on social media. Everything is Andrew D. East.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Hey, Drew, you've been mentioning your wife quite about, I think, 10 times in this interview. We got to get to it, bro. How did y'all first meet, man? When did y'all first meet? What was it like, man? I know, look, you get the heat.
I know, no, this fires me up because this is what I'm saying. I'm not like, when we first met, I was not an Olympic athlete. I was in freaking school. I had 2 shirts to my name. I wasn't like, I'm a scraggly dude. You could tell, like, I don't put a lot of time in my looks. I'm not a fresh guy. But what I do, Terrell, is I'm persevering. So we met. My brother bumped into her at the Olympics in 2012. He had, again, remember we said, like, look, do your research on people and like know what to ask. he had found out that she was looking to go into school at Vanderbilt. So to his credit, he said, I have a brother that's playing football there. He'll give you a tour. Next thing you know, like I get her number. I called her. We went on a first date out in LA. Like we bumped into each other. She ghosted me for 9 months. All right. The first date apparently did not go well from her side. I thought we had a blast, but I kept persevering, not in a creepy way, but I was like, hey, you know, like just encouraging her, like, hey, I saw you did this, like, great job, this was fun, whatever you can do. And then 9 months later, we ultimately went on a second date. We get engaged 2 years after that, and now we've been married for 3 years. Got a kid on the way, and couldn't be more terrified about being a parent, but we're excited.
Absolutely, that's big, man. So your brother was able to really connect you to.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
all because of him. It's his fault.
Uh, wow. I know y'all probably talk about it when y'all at the table at family gatherings and stuff like that, and like, man, maybe sipping some wine and just having a conversation with the family, man. I think that's beautiful. How did you know she was the one?
Dude, gosh, yeah. I don't think I did really. I just decided, you know what I'm saying? Like we get asked that. We do a whole lot of relationship stuff on our YouTube channel, and like we get asked that a lot. Like, how will I know that that's a person I want to marry? Like,
Mm.
there's nothing. Like you're not gonna get slapped in the face one day and like say you got to marry this person. You're not gonna wake up and like it be written on the outside of your freaking wall or on your door. Like you decide, hey, this is the person I'm gonna marry, and I'm gonna do what it takes to make that work. So here we go. Like that's just I feel like it's honestly a mentality, and
Mm.
going through marriage and like you can either have the mentality of gosh, my wife is really annoying me because that's what wives do. That's what husbands do too, is you annoy your spouse. They didn't do the dishes, they didn't do the laundry, but or I could have the mentality of like, hey, you know what? They probably didn't do the dishes because they were doing something else that was productive, or they didn't do the laundry, but probably because there's a million other things that they could be doing. So like, it's a mentality. I really do think it is. Like you just decide, you make up your mind, and you do what it takes.
Absolutely. No, that's beautiful, man. I usually do this each and every interview, Drew. I show gratitude to those who devote time to be on the show to share their journey, man, lessons learned and everything they've been through their journey, man, to help other people overcome that hump and that space of being stuck and out that comfort zone to unlocking that inner greatness. So I just wanted to, man, say, man, thank you for really being 100% vulnerable, coming here, man, sharing your journey, where it started, growing up, and also just the process of going through college and the NFL and things of that nature, being rejected, but accepting, reflecting, but continuing to go and keeping yourself, um, just in flow, like just trying to reach for something more. And I just, like you say, perseverance. And when you mentioned that word, I'm like, that's it right there. So I think, man, most people will be truly, truly inspired by this interview with you, man. Honestly, just even you mentioning your wife, because some young people out there, they may not look at it as having one person right now because they still trying to just enjoy life and things of that nature. But you can enjoy life with that one, when you finally meet that one. Or so, man. I'm just really enjoying us. So I just wanted to say, man, thank you so much for being here, man, and really bringing your all today. Honestly, I can talk to you all day, good brother.
Dude, yeah, no, I appreciate, I wouldn't be on here if you didn't ask. So I appreciate you asking,
There
you
you go.
learning what you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you do a great job at embodying, you asked me my 5 tips. And you also do a great job. I feel like you realize that this content that you put out, you're not just doing it so you can have like, be a celebrity freaking podcast host. You're doing it because you want to impact people, and you're very conscious of that. So I appreciate you asking, appreciate you making it happen and following through, and look forward to continuing our relationship.
Absolutely. All right, Drew. So you in this space, man, as a successful entrepreneur, um, how do you really, really sustain that success, man?
Gosh, oh man. I feel like continuing to be humble, continuing to learn, and continuing to, get as much information, build as many relationships as possible. I don't know how long we will be successful, but I'm doing everything I can to make sure that we are doing the best that that we can as YouTubers, that we're doing the best and building our business. And I feel like if you chase excellence, like at the end of the day, even if you fall short of excellence, you'll reach a really good spot. So I feel like you just gotta keep chasing after it.
What would you like to see entrepreneurs do different?
Um, yeah, don't don't be afraid to, like, you know, not be uh for lack of a better word, sorry if this comes off as aggressive, but like
You all good.
entitled. Like I feel like a lot of people are preaching, online, the motivational business speakers are like, hey, you deserve this and this is who you are, you deserve greatness. But just like I said, like, you got to start somewhere. So like, if you need to do a free internship for a year, that's going to ultimately put you in the position that you need to be in, do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be entitled and try to like skip the line, because that's just not going to work. So it's humility. That would be my answer.
Absolutely. I love that. And you say you've traveled many places, man. What was that one specific place? It can be in the United States or outside the United States. And which place, like where was the attraction to that place that you really enjoyed mostly, like about like the culture or so?
Oh, dude, Spain.
Yes.
We went to Spain a couple. I'm a big Europe guy. I love history. Spain and Italy, I just love delicious food. They got amazing architecture. The people are like fantastic and fun, and I would go back there as many times as I could.
What was your favorite dish?
Dude, any tapas, dude. Just load me up on tapas. Fill me up. I love whatever they got so much good food over there. I can't pick one. I do love the Italian pizza. I mean, you can't beat it.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Hey, Drew, man, I know you've been having a space for some time. We almost out of here. Is it something that you didn't get to share yet, man? And just feel free to be all vulnerable that you can really share with the audience right now. That's going to touch somebody.
You mentioned it, opening up. Gosh, I am just so thankful for the people in my life who have. When I played in my first NFL game, again, it took me 5 years. I gave that jersey to my dad, and I realized the impact that he had on my life, because he allowed me to believe that dreams can come true. Like, I wasn't raised with boundaries. Like, he literally allowed me to believe that anything was possible.
Mm,
And so I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my brother, who has just like been such an amazing guide through all this. There's so many, like, just be thankful. That's all I got to say. I'm thankful, and I encourage other people to think about who they can be thankful to.
absolutely. Absolutely. Just be thankful. Yes. And we about to approach 2020, man, in just a couple months from now, man. What is something you're really looking forward to? I know you're looking forward to the little one, but any projects, any upcoming projects, any events you got coming up?
Um, yeah, I'm working on a lot of good partnerships. We do consulting, and so Google brings us in, and we talk to different companies, and so I've really enjoyed that. I have my own school where I teach people social media. The whole purpose is, we call it Side Hustle Social, because there's a lot of people out. The number one thing that my generation, the number one career that they want to have is like YouTubers and bloggers. Dude, have you seen this study? Like 34% of people who took the survey want to be YouTubers. And like the next second one close was like being online bloggers. So, a lot of people are trying to make this a career. So we kind of teach people ins and outs of how to do that. But the real underlying message and the purpose of it is, I truly believe that everybody has a unique message, a unique experience that they can share. My journey was not making it in the NFL, and documenting that, and like showing people that, like, hey, things probably aren't going to turn out the way you expect them to, but that's okay. And so I want to help encourage others to find what that message is for them. And so, we're doing that, and that's growing like crazy. So I'm excited for that. And Sean and I have a lot of fun things in store. The child being the top one.
Yes, yes. You looking forward to fatherhood, man?
Dude, yes, but also, wow, what a responsibility. And I'm
Yes.
just I'm learning as much as I can right now, asking questions, and geez, we'll see.
Mm, that's big. And what's the greatest advice you've ever given, man? Like what something that really sticks with you into today? Just that one conversation or so.
My two favorite quotes are one from my high school weight coach. I think Muhammad Ali said or something, but
Mm-hmm.
always make yourself comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that stuck with me because, man, like if you're always in your comfort zone, you're not going to grow. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta do something new, and that's going to push you and help expand your boundaries. And the second thing is, and this goes with kind of like you're going to have that grateful perspective or not. Lex Luthor in one of the Superman said, "Some people
Mm-hmm.
can read War and Peace and think that it's a mere adventure novel. Other people can read the back of a gum wrapper and understand the secrets of the universe." And it's like, man, that's true. Like, what's your perspective? What are you gonna glean out of something? And those would be my two.
Absolutely. That's big, man. Oh man, Drew, I've really had this exciting time with you, man. Such a memorable time, honestly. And it's so amazing how we can come together, man. From I met Drew at the Podfest 19 in March of this year, and he was on a panel, him and his other two good friends and business partners as well, and they were just speaking on different topics in entrepreneurship, leadership, vulnerability, and how to build your social media and your YouTube and everything. And something just stood out to me from all three of them, But I seen him. I was just about to leave the building, and I just decided to speak to him and show gratitude and tell him I really enjoyed the speech, and gave me his social media. And from there, we've been in contact, and he's a busy guy, but he made time to be on here today. So that means a lot. And that's why I say, guys, one conversation can change the communication, between two. And that's what we got to look forward to. You may not know somebody your whole life, but it's those who you come across along your journey that you really feel like you knew most of your life, because they're just so real. They're not faking it till they make it. They just being completely vulnerable, transparent, and just showing their true selves, showing up every day, because we fail. We fail, but at the same time, we can get back up and keep going to succeed. And it's not all about an image or just trying to persuade what other people want you to do, but it's about what you're called to do on this thing called Earth. And that's why it's inspired before we expire. So, Drew, the bonus question, man, when it's all said and done, man, what do Mr. Andrew East want to be really, really remembered for?
I read this book by Bob Goff. It's called Love Does, and he mentions this in there. I hope people uh, know me as the guy who loved God and loved people. So
Mhm.
that's what I want.
Amazing, man. Drew, you can just lead the people off with something, man. Before we get out of here, and then we'll keep it going.
Sweet. I'll lead them off with this. We talked about asking. So if you guys liked this episode of Inspire Before We Expire with T some, give it a subscribe, give it a little rating, because that helps the show and it helps expose it to other people. So I appreciate having me on, man. And it was a real pleasure. I look forward to getting to know you better.
Yes, yes. Share your social media and in the space you say your school where you teach people how to build their social media and everything. That's important too, because I think many people need to follow that. So just share everything.
Yeah, it's sidehustlesocial.com. And we talked about the social media, Andrew D. East. And yeah, man, it's a good thing. You could just Google me, probably some some dumb picture of me will pop up or something. But
Oh man, it's been a pleasure, Drew. Guys, listen, like he said, if you enjoyed it, I know you guys received this fully. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and also leave us a review. Follow my guy Andrew East as well. Follow his journey, follow his mission, follow his YouTube channel. Andrew East, and is also his wife, his lovely wife as well, Sean Johnson as well, who's just continuing. You guys are just continuing to dominate together. It's nothing like a power couple, man. I just think that's big, and I just wanted to say, man, thank you so much for your time, and thank you all to my listeners who's listening to right now. I'm Terrell Sumter. That's my guy, the one and only Mr. Andrew East. coming out of Nashville, Tennessee. Yes, yes, yes. Proudly. This is an Inspire Before We Expire, and we're out. Woo!